Everyone. Hello. So it's Thursday and it's 3 o'clock here in Paris time, which means it's time for Chat with Cat. Hello. Do you know, I love doing these. I really do. And quite often, I don't really know what I'm going to talk about until very shortly before the call. So today, I had a bit of an idea this morning, and it was prompted by a day out that I had the other day. Hi, John. Lovely to see you. You're going to like this one today. So yeah, I went out like you do. And then on the way back, I'd said to myself, I need some new photographs. So I took out my little selfie stick and I wanted to take just some photographs out in the woods, out in the wild, just doing what I do and mucking about outside. Just because I wanted some fresh photos to just be able to use on social media and stuff like that. And I came across this enormous oak tree, like huge oak tree. And I have a little video which I will put up at some point because I was just in bliss. And I was like as giddy as a giddy child because of the size of this oak tree. Now, my happy place is out in nature. You may be able to tell because quite a lot of my videos are made wandering around in nature. But what I did was I actually sent the little snippet to a couple of my friends and went, I am honestly never happier than when I found a big tree. And that feeling of joy of being around an enormous oak tree has not left me for the last few days. So what I wanted to talk about today was, do you know what your happy is? Do you know what your happy is? Because as you can tell, giant oak tree isn't massively important to most people on the planet. But to me, for me, that literally took me like to that moment of just joy that you have when you're a little kid and you've found something that's just amazing. So for my awareness of what my happy is, it started me thinking. It really started me thinking about what the truth of my happiness is. And I am honestly never happier than when I'm in nature. I'm honestly never happier than when I find a giant oak tree. I am honestly never happier than when I'm sitting and playing with my dog. I am honestly never happier than that moment where, it's not all the time, but there's this magical moment for me, personally for me, where I have this thing about carbs, right? My friend Anna has just popped on and she understands my thing of carbs, right? And I will send over to her little messages going, triple carb night tonight. Woohoo! And I'll have made lasagna and chips and garlic bread. And I'm just layering layers of carbs on top of each other. And I do this little happy dance where I've got food in front of me. Like that is the level of happiness that these small things can just trigger in my life. And the only reason that I know what my happy is, and these moments of just sheer bliss from these tiny little things, is because I've really paid attention over the years to what it is that actually really is my happy. What is my happy? And for many years, to be honest, I couldn't have told you what my happy is. So right now for you, if you're watching this live, if you're watching it on replay, whatever it is, just have a little think right now, what is my happy? And if you know it immediately, really just go, oh, wow. And don't think if it's too small that it's too small and you should be reaching for something bigger. Whatever it is, just know that it's okay, that that's your happy. That's your happy right there. That tiny moment of joy, no matter what it is. And if we can learn to take ownership of our own truth, and we can learn to take ownership of our own happy, and we can learn to take ownership of what is it that I need to nurture me? What is it that I need more of? What is it at these moments of when I feel most alive? What are these moments? Because then we can take our life and we can weave more of those into it. And like I say, a few years ago, I couldn't have told you what my happy was. I was going through a really tough time. Life had dealt me some pretty tough blows at one period. And they've not all worked themselves out. Some of them are still hanging around. So it's easy to think when we see people on social media that, oh, they're happy because. But I believe that happiness is a choice. I believe that we get to choose to pay attention to what makes us happy. To really pay attention, to really start to know and live with the honesty of these are really important moments for me. And so I'm going to actively weave more happy into my world. I'm going to weave more of these moments. I'm going to make them as important to me as what I make important for everybody else. Because all of us empaths out there, we know that we have these people-pleasing tendencies that can completely and utterly override our own need for our own happy moments. But our happy moments are really important. Our happy is really important. Knowing what those happies are is really important. And so, like I say, I had periods where I didn't know at all what happy was. I had nothing. I couldn't even reach for it. I couldn't have told you what my happy was. It just wasn't there. But what was there was I'll be happy when. Oh, there was plenty of I'll be happy whens. I'll be happy when that happens, or I'll be happy when that person does that, or I'll be happy when this unfolds in front of me. I'll be happy when I do my manifestation and I do my law of attraction and all of that fuckery, and that finally arrives. So there was an awful lot of waiting to be happy. But what happened was I had a moment where I got to be able to choose. And I actually chose to really investigate these teeny tiny moments of what is my happy? What is it? And when you come back from those moments of you don't know what happy is, you're only living what other people's happy is, or I'll only ever be happy when that happens. We get into this space where we literally are aware that we're waiting for the entire world to move. Do you appreciate that? When you're literally sitting in the middle of this fog of I don't know what happy is, and you're literally thinking, if only the whole world would just tip like that, like the whole world would move, if only all of it would move, then I could find my happy, then I could be content, then I can get my, myself sorted out. But we can't do that because we're going to be waiting a really long time. a really long time for the entire world to change around us. So what we have to do is we have to come back into ourselves. We have to do this old practice of know thyself. We have to come back into our own investigation, our own self-love, our own self-work, our own self-knowing, and start investigating and start figuring it out and start experimenting and going, oh, is it that? Oh, is it that? And we can like live life as an experiment for a little while, just trying all of these new and different things. But the other thing that we can do is just living normal life, pay attention more to these moments of joy that do appear in our lives. And when life is pretty shitty, because to be honest, everybody, even the most spiritual of spiritual people, have shitty days, have shitty periods of time, have moments where it feels like the world has just done a big giant turd on your head and you go, what the fuck happened there? But we can choose, even in the hardest, darkest times, even in these times where it feels like the world is so dark, even in the times where we feel like we're broken, even in the times where we feel like we have got nothing that could make us happy, there are these glimmers and moments of joy if we can start to pay attention to them, and they may be very little small things. So things like your first cup of coffee in the morning, where you just get that mug in your hands and you just sit there, and that moment of, oh, that's a happy moment. That's a moment that we can start paying gratitude for and witnessing. And once we start witnessing the teeny tiny moments of gratitude that we can have in the day, the teeny tiny steps, the moments where it doesn't feel as bad, the teeny tiny steps, then we can start to navigate ourselves a little bit better and a little bit easier. Because we pay attention, because all of this life fuckery, it's all about an inside out job. We know that. You know, life is created by our weaving of it. And so if we are playing with the magic of life, if we are here to experience and witness ourselves in being human for a little while, then why would we not want to pay attention? Why would we not want to pay attention to everything? Why would we not want to experience every single granular moment of experience of life? Why would we not want to do that? And there was this amazing piece of writing that actually, I don't know why it found its way back to me this week, but it did. And I wrote this download from the crew, my spirit collective that I work with when I'm working one-to-one with clients, and we're channeling the crew to get higher wisdom. And it was in one of these particularly difficult times where I'm pretty sure I was walking around the forest going, what? What do you want me to do? What's my job? What am I supposed to be doing? And, you know, we've all had those moments. It's just like, what is it? What is it? Tell me what it is. If you tell me what it is, then I'll know what to do. And this beautiful piece of writing, this beautiful download came down. And I wrote it down. And I found it again this week, and it seems really apt. I shared it on my Facebook page, so I'm going to read it now. I'm going to do like the Superman thing. So hang on. So it says, your job is to be open to life, nothing more. Simply to allow life to find you, to allow life to live within you, to allow life to guide, amaze, and astound you. Your job is to lift up your eyes and notice the blue of the sky and be amazed. Your job is to look around at the world and be astounded. Your job is to let life in. Your job is to allow life to breathe through you, to be you, for you to be life. Your job is simply to be the calling in the breath to whatever you feel in that moment. Your job is to be here, to be human, to live every aspect of life, the good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the joys, the pain, all of it, and to live it as though that is your one and only purpose. For that is what you are. Life living itself through you, experiencing the you of life through you, breathing life through you. You are life itself. And so simply put, your one and only job here in this life is to remember to live. So I'm really bloody grateful that I've had the crew at my side as I've been going through these last years, figuring out life through the ups and the downs, through the difficulties. And it has been an absolute gift to me to be able to have that. But what has happened is because I've had the crew behind me, I've always had this touchstone. I've always had this point where I can get a perspective that's further away from where human me is. And it's been absolutely amazing for me to have that touchstone. And this is why this is my work now. Because I want everyone to have access to this higher level of perspective where we can just feel like we can breathe for a little bit. We can just feel like we can breathe. And if I was to say, what is the moment where I feel the most alive? It's honestly when I'm doing that work, when I am channeling the crew, when I am working with people to allow that expandedness and that magic and that awe to suddenly arrive in everybody. So it's taken me a long while to own that happiness, to own that as that being important. You know, as much as I own the tiny pieces of human existence that I'm here and finding the joy in the oak trees and the walks in the country and the triple carbs and the dog and all of these small pieces fitting together have really helped to navigate me to where I am now, in this nowness of me, in this knowing of what is my happy. So I ask you now, do you know what your happy is? Can you appreciate what your happy is? Can you take a few days this week to just live this life as an experiment, just to figure out what it is that lights up your life? What it is are these tiny little pieces that if we were to say that I am going to live life as if it is my one and only true purpose is to literally let life in, literally live this experience of existence, then I would be finding joy in every piece of it. Like finding the joy in the ups and the downs and witnessing the extremes of what this experience of life truly, truly is, what this complexity and this embeddedness and this yumminess and fuckeriness and mixed up and messed up life, all of it is about us learning to let life in. And when we can let life in, we can start to look at everything through these glasses of absolute magic, of just going, oh, look at that. Look at that. And I was triggered this week, as I said at the beginning, by the giant oak tree. And just that heart-opening, expanding joy of finding that and being there and experiencing that. But we can have these heart-expanding, amazing moments every single day when we start to pay attention to what is my happy. And so I would like to invite you to pay attention to that for the next few days, for the next week, for the next period of your entire life. Really start paying attention to the small things that make you happy and make them important. Weave more of them into your world. Make more of them happen. Allow more of them to happen. Allow yourself to take ownership of it. Let yourself be happy. Let yourself be happy. So, tell me what's going on. Leave me a little comment. Let me know what your happy is. DM me if you want to. And if you want to follow more of what I do, you can find all about me on my website, which is uninvented.life. And next week, I am actually going to be launching the next evolution of my Soul-Led Warriors collective. And this is going to be an amazing offering where you will be able to get one-to-one sessions with the crew to have the same level of soul-led mentoring that I've had with the crew each and every month for a period of the next 6 months. And I'm so thrilled and super excited to be able to do it at a price which is just ridiculous, because I want you to know what it feels like to have these touchstones of wisdom just drop into your life once a month, and to have that ability to question and just say to the crew, like I've done, what the fuck? You know, this is so important for us to be able to do this and to gift ourselves these moments of expansion and wisdom. So if you would like to know more about that before it's launched next week, send me a PM, because there's only going to be a few spaces available. If you want to get a heads up, you want to get in there first, send me a PM and I'll tell you all about it. But in the meantime, everything else about me is on my website, uninvented.life. And yeah, go live life on purpose. Live life as though that is what you're here to do, because that is what we're here to do. And take ownership of your happy. And I will see you again next week at 3 o'clock Paris time for a chat with Cat. And yeah, huge love. And before I go, one more fascinating fact. There's an amazing woman on in the UK who's a historian, and every now and again she puts a fabulous word out there in the world. See, these things make me happy as well. Right, this is just a random bit of happiness. Okay, if this makes you smile, you might kind of go. So, a reminder, should you need it, of Mubble Fubbles. Mubble Fubbles. It's from the 16th century, which is a vague Sunday evening-ish blues and a slight sense of doom. I love all that stuff. So there you go. There's another little piece of my happy. I do like the obscure words. Feel free to send me any obscure words that you like with the little thing, so I know what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that. Huge love, and I'll see you next week. Chat with Cat, 3 o'clock Paris time, 2 o'clock UK time, 9 AM Eastern Standard Time. See you next week.